target audience. The age is specified in the brief, which is 16 to 24-year-olds. To appeal to this audience, I will use people within that age range. So like my Vox Pops, I'll try, even though I want a wide range because I want it to go to a mainstream audience as well, my documentary. So I want to get it to maybe, I know that my campaign producer is in that age range. So most of my interviewees and people that are going to star in my documentary will be of this age range, which will then again appeal to the target audience. It meets the brief as well. The location is obviously the UK, which is specified in the brief as well. I want to film in different areas within London. Like, I've researched a little bit about the main area that's affected with knife crime. So obviously, like I said before, Hackney, and other places that are affected. The gender, the brief specified again that it's targeted at males and females. I'll include this and make it relate to my target audience as I'm using both genders throughout my documentary, so including Vox Pops, all my the campaign producers, any interviewees that I've got are going to be both male and females. I've also put grime music in gender, as there is some girls that do grime music, which if I put a bit in of that, some girls may like the girl grime music, which then appeals to them. Interests, the overall interests that I got from the target audience will be music, hanging around with their friends or in a gang, being involved or in touch with youth centres as they might attend there. The target audience may have similar interests to them. The ethnicity, there isn't no specific ethnicity, it's for all. And it's going to do this by including different people from different backgrounds, etc., as I said before, through all my interviewees. The disposable income I expect my target audience to have is probably between about £20 or £100, as because the age range is quite wide. We get young people from obviously the age of 16, which they could still be at school, and they could even go up to full-time workers, be in education, or up to a full-time worker because they're 24-year-olds. The employment status / education, again, this varies because the target audience is so wide. Could be up to full-time employment, part-time, full-time education, or no employment, or just general education. For my research, I did 4 pieces of research. One of them was facts and figures research. This was examined through content research. I found that it was the best method, as it expanded on facts and figures for me, so I was able to find out more about knife crime as well as their facts and figures, which will be useful in my documentary. I used both quantitative and qualitative data because it was figures and facts, although I focused more on qualitative because the work I produced had written structure. This was secondary research, as I got the facts and figures from the internet, for example newspapers, different websites. This research helped my idea by understanding how serious knife crime is and how high their figures are. My key findings from this was the knife crime has a very big impact on people within communities. The media stereotypes ethnicities involved with knife crime, And the most affected area is London, which is where I'm going to be filming. So my next research was my focus groups. I found out various things from my focus group as in terms of what they preferred or what they would like to see in someone's documentary. I created activities for them so it could make it a bit more interesting. I examined audience research with this as there was a different variety of ages and they could tell me their responses, what they thought about my ideas, and this helped me to continue to find my audience. I used qualitative data because all the questions that I asked required a detailed answer. I used primary research as I produced my own questions and got my own group together. And this helped me to improve on my idea as I got a lot from what young people in the focus group said. So again, it's targeted at young people as well. So what they would like to see was really affects my documentary, as I'd like to put it in there so that it attracts more of my target audience. I found out what appeals to young people. That was the main key finding. What's the best locations to film at, and opinions about my ideas. My next research was questionnaire research. I created a questionnaire to find out what a mainstream audience would prefer to see in my documentary. I examined audience research again in this. This is best suited as the brief specifies that we have to aim our documentary at a 16 to 24-year-olds and also a mainstream audience. I used qualitative data as the questions were either multiple choice or required detailed answers. Although I did use quantitative data when I asked like how old they are, etc. I used primary research as the questions were my own and I produced the questionnaire myself. And this research helped me as I found out a lot about, again, people's preferences, and not just young people this time, but it was a wide audience. This allowed me to make my documentary for mainstream audience as well. My key findings were what people's preferences were, how I can target my documentary to a mainstream audience, and what people think about generally my idea. My last research was textual analysis. This was qualitative as it was all very detailed and it was all in written structure. I examined content research as I was analysing 2 documentaries, so I had an idea of what content I could put in mine as well and what style I could put my documentary in. I used secondary research because I was looking at 2 of someone else's documentaries. This research helped me to improve on my idea as I now understand what overall style means and how I can put what style I can put my documentary in, and how presenters act with a serious issue. So how they're going to act in their documentary. Are they going to be serious, funny, humorous, etc. I found out what I can do to improve my documentary from looking at other people's. I focused on the style of my documentary. Oh, and I also chose whether I should be the presenter or not.